magical star beings, this is Psychic Siren Tarot and welcome to the channel. In today's reading we're going to be taking a look at what type of man will he be to you. So please be aware that this is a general collective reading, only take what resonates, leave the rest. With this reading, I more so made it with the intention of trying to figure out the type of man he is, his characters, how he's going to treat you in a connection. This can be for somebody new you have met. It can be for somebody you are already in a relationship with. But this is more so for made with the intention for people where, you don't fully know the type of man he is, how he's going to treat you, if he's a good man. If you can trust him, things like that. So if you feel you resonate with that and you would like to see if you can trust this man, then I think this is the reading for you. So one thing I'm going to say about this reading, I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm going to be super honest and upfront. So we have 3 piles to choose from. You don't have to choose based off the way this man looks, but just the card or crystal you are most energetically drawn to, right? So for pile number 1, we have the Malachite crystal with the 9 of Pentacles in the reverse. For pile number 2, we have red Jasper with the Emperor. And for pile number 3, we have blue Howlite with the Page of Swords. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to pick a pile. Pick whichever pile you're most drawn to, the one that is standing out to you the most energetically. That will be your pile. Once you're done picking a pile, please find the timestamps for your pile in the description box below, and then I'll see you at your reading. Hi there, my pile number 1s. If you chose this Malachite crystal and the 9 of Pentacles in the reverse, then this is your reading. We're going to be taking a look at what type of man will he be to you. So please be aware that this is a general reading. Only take what resonates, leave the rest. In this reading, I'm not going to be sugarcoating things. I'm really going to be truthful with what I see in terms of the type of man he will be to you. So I have some questions in my mind of things I'm going to ask. We're first going to take a look at his personality to see if this is in fact your pile. So before I actually get started with your reading, I'd also like to just say I am going to be available for personal readings next month. So if you would like to book with me, you can find my email address in the description box below. So let's just shuffle your cards. Spirit guides of my pile number 1s. Spirit guides of my pile number 1s. May I please tap into the energy of the person on their mind, the man they have in mind for pile 1. Who is he in his personality to confirm that this is in fact their pile? We have the Chariot. We have the Tower in the reverse. And we have Death. Okay, so zodiac signs I see here. I see Cancer quite prominently. I see Scorpio also quite prominently because the Tower is Mars energy, so it can be Aries or Scorpio, and Death can also be Scorpio, so there's strong Scorpio energy showing up, as well as Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. So strong water sign energy and strong earth sign energy showing up within this pile. By the way, before we actually talk about this man, I just want to say I saw 444 on the camera's timer when I was about to start your pile. So I do feel like you have spirit guides on the other side that are protecting you without you even realizing, from men that are just not good for you in general. So if you, for this pile, ever start talking to a man, casually, and something just happens where something ends, or he just ghosts you, or you just stop talking, or you just stop being interested in him, or something comes out like a truth about him, that is the spirit guides on the other side protecting you. So be grateful when something does not work out, that is your highest divine protection from the other side. Don't see it as, the other person not wanting you or anything of the sort. Just see it as your divine protection. See it as that person wasn't meant for you in the first place, and Spirit is protecting you from something you may not even know about. Not with this man, but with men in general, okay? I don't want to go too long about that because I don't want to go off topic, but I've seen it firsthand where Spirit has taken people out of my life. And then later on, a few years later, I find out something about them that I never knew, where I'm like shocked and I'm like, I would never want to be like with a man like that anyway. So please take it from me, take my advice, be grateful when that protection does come in. So with the Nine of Pentacles being reversed, in terms of his energy, I feel like there is a sense of loyalty with this man I'm seeing so far, but we'll still get more cards and, unfold the messages in terms of who this man is and his energy, because I'm still slowly connecting into his energy. I do see a sense of loyalty here. I do see him having, this ability to reject certain people if he is in a relationship. So there's this feeling here of like, let's say he is in a relationship, he would be that type of man that would reject other offers. Like if other women or other people just came up to him and started flirting with him, because I'm looking at the different offers with the different coins here, and he looks very uninterested and bored. So it's kind of like this man is that type of man when he has his eye on somebody, or just somebody in general. You don't even have to just be a woman watching. There could be this feeling of like, I only have eyes for you, which is a green flag so far. I do see that this is a type of man that has maybe grown up in an environment of chaos, and he does not like chaos. He's the type of man that likes order. I see that he has gone through a lot of struggles, challenges, pain, hardship within his life, which is not a bad thing. I think we all have our own trauma and our own baggage. When we come to Earth, we're all on this planet where, we're all going through shit. Sorry for my language, but we are. So I feel like this man is, in his personality, he's overcome a lot, and he's more of that type of person that wants organization. He wants order in his life, structure in his life. He doesn't want chaos around him. He doesn't want fights. He's just not that type of man. I feel like if you were to fight with him, he would be so calm and be like, speak to me gently, or speak to me in a calm manner, or, let's visit this when you're calm. I feel like he's not the type of man that would get a reaction. Like, even if another man had to try and fight him, I feel like he just has this very calm demeanor as I'm in his energy. And Malachite is a very heart chakra based crystal, so I do feel like he does have a big heart. I'm seeing something about siblings. So if this man does have siblings, I'm seeing him being very protective over his siblings, especially for those watching where this man has sisters. I see him being very protective over his sisters in a way of like, other men cannot break their hearts. So I see something about that here. Like if there is some kind of conflict between the two of you, this would be the type of man that would want to resolve things very quickly. And this man is a man that wants to change things in his life. He's comfortable and accepting of change. I'd say he's a very transformative person. There have been times in his life where he may have felt hopeless because of the pain he was experiencing emotionally, but he pushed through and continued to overcome that in the end. So I'd say he's very powerful in that sense, a very transformative person, which is a good thing. I think he's learned to embrace change. He can also be very strong and powerful in some way energetically. That's what I'm seeing about this man. Anything else I'm missing here about his personality, Spirit, before we move on to the next question? I'm seeing something about not wanting to pass down the same cycles that my parents put onto me. So again, he could have grown up in an environment full of chaos, and if he does want children in the future, There's something about not wanting to pass on the same cycles. Something about that's coming through. I think he has his own sort of duality. He's not exactly perfect, but he can admit his faults, which is it's a green flag. So our next question is going to be on his character and values. So if you resonated with this part of his personality, then this is in fact your pile. If not, then I would suggest picking another pile that you are drawn to. So his character and his values, please, for the person on their mind, the man on their mind, for pile 1, please. His character and his values. So we have the Empress. We have the Ace of Cups. And we have Strength. Okay, let me just see that this is in frame. So within his character and his values, I don't see any red flags here so far. I see mostly green flags with this man. I think with the Ace of Cups and the Empress, these are two very heart-based cards because the Empress is holding up a heart there and she's a nurturer, and the Ace of Cups is somebody that's in touch with their heart space. So in terms of this man's character and values, he acts from the heart space. He doesn't act from a place of ego or hate or anger. You know, when he makes decisions for his life, it's mostly coming from a place of love. And I'd actually say this man's energy is very cute for you. Pile number 1, I'd say this man's a keeper so far from what I'm seeing. Because I'm seeing him either have sisters or a mother, and like really respect the women around him. Where even if he wanted children one day, he wouldn't want his like daughter to grow up in an environment with a bad father and go for a lover that, you know, like isn't treating her good, because it's almost like this man understands psychology and how, you know, the dynamic with our parents can affect what we look for in love. So I've experienced this firsthand where I didn't have a very good relationship to my dad. So I was looking for men that, I wouldn't say I was looking for men consciously, but subconsciously that just weren't good for me because that was normal for me, right? Growing up. So what I'm seeing with this man is like he doesn't want to pass down those same things to his children. He wants to be very gentle to his children, and he wants to also choose a good woman. I don't know. I feel like there's mostly straight men in this pile. Like you're asking about a straight man, but it doesn't have to be. Or he's just like looking for a good man or good person, depending on your sexuality and who you're asking about. But there's just this feeling of like he's a good man. He respects women. He respects people. He treats people with love and respect. And he hates to see other women being disrespected by men. I feel like if he grew up in an environment where he saw his mother being disrespected, it's like he never wants to do that to another woman, if you're a woman watching, of course. I feel like he's a very soft-spoken person, but when it comes to protecting other people or protecting children, he's going to be that type of person to speak up. I see him being more of this provider type of man, like, I will make the money, I will take care of you, I will do the best I can to protect you, like a very protective man, right? A man that's very in touch with his heart. And when he looks at, you know, like the kind of challenges he's been through in life, he tries to not be that type of man that doesn't learn from what he's going through. You know, this man, he can recognize his faults, but he wants to learn and grow, and that is a good thing to see in this type of reading. And I feel like he has willpower, he has self-control, which is a really good thing. And I'd say he's just overall a very loving person. So I'd say there is a good feeling here, but let's get the rest of the questions here. So in the last month, only 41% of my viewers have subscribed to my channel. So if you enjoy this video so far, and if you would like to stay up to date with what I post daily, hit the subscribe button to not miss out. Thank you to everybody that is watching my channel. I'm sending you so much love and gratitude for you being here today. So let's see the next question. The next question is the type of man he will be to you. So what type of man will he be to pile number 1, please? The person, the man on their mind. We have the 9 of Swords in the reverse. We have the Queen of Cups in the reverse. We have the Queen of Swords in the reverse. Okay, I feel like this is a soft man, where it's like, let's say, how do I explain this energy? The best way to describe this is like a very gentle man, where it's like, let's say you and this man had to get in a conflict and you were angry at him. It's like, let's say you had to shout at him. He would just keep quiet and not shout back. Like, I feel like he's a very soft man, and he will never like raise his voice at a woman, or treat a woman badly, or treat anyone badly per se. Like, when he really loves a person, he has a soft spot for them. So it's like, let's say he had to protect another person, like a sister of his or his mother or something like that. That would be a different story. But like when it comes to other men, for example. But when it comes to like people he really loves, he has a soft spot for them, even for his family members, where he will never call them out sometimes. And I think that can be a little bit of a fault of his, because it can sometimes attract people in his life that maybe emotionally manipulate him or walk all over him or are extremely dominant over him. It can create some kind of thing where there's some kind of power play, right? But I think that has happened in the past to him, and I think now he's become aware of it. But I also feel like he will leave relationships like that. So I feel like he has dealt with that in the past, and he's not gonna stay put in relationships that aren't good for him or are toxic overall. But I'm just picking up on like a very gentle man, where it's like he won't ever stand up for himself when it comes to the people he loves, because he just has such a soft spot for them overall. I think that he worries a lot when it comes to the people he loves. So if you had to be in a relationship with him, it would be like he worries a lot about your safety and well-being and things like that. So that is something I'm definitely seeing. Okay, so do you know what Spirit is showing me? Do you know when we're so empathetic to others, when we don't stand up for ourselves? It can be a little bit self-destructive. Do you know why? Because sometimes you can get something called empathetic fatigue, where you start to build up resentment over the things you have not said, over like not standing up for yourself, not speaking up for yourself. And then you start to develop like this feeling of, I don't want to be like pleasing others anymore, and then you start to develop resentment. So I'd say that's not a good thing. Like if you were to be in a relationship with this man, I think it would be good if you encouraged him to speak up for himself and say what he's feeling, even if it hurts you, because that is going to be healthy for you if you can have those difficult conversations and overcome those things, instead of him bottling that up inside. But I also feel like there's just something about him where I think he grew up in a kind of dynamic where he couldn't speak up for himself, so that has carried over from his childhood to now. And I think for sometimes, like, he's scared he isn't compassionate enough. So I think he may sometimes have a tendency to people please. So I think if you had to encourage him, like, it's okay if you can tell me how you feel, or it's okay if you tell me this that I said upset you, like, be honest with me, please. I see something about that. What type of man will he be to pile number 1? I do see something about like having a fear of speaking up about my feelings. So I'd say he's a man that feels things on a deep level when it comes to the people he dates. Like, he really loves. When he loves hard. He falls hard. And I feel like when he looks for love, he doesn't just look for anybody. He wears his heart on his sleeve. So the thing is with him, he just has a hard time expressing his feelings, like the more lovey-dovey type of things. But I think he is trying to get over certain fears he has. I think he can sometimes be very fearful when it comes to love and overthink a lot and be in his head a lot but not say what's on his mind. So that is, he has like this tendency to overthink things, but I think he may have some trust issues, but I think he's aware of these things he needs to work on. This man is very self-aware, so he knows he needs to overcome this. So what else? What type of man will he be to pile number 1, please? Let's just get 3 more cards. The 4 of Cups. We have the 6 of Pentacles. So with the 4 of Cups next to the 6 of Pentacles, this is a type of man where if he sees like you're bored or you're not having fun, it's like, let's go do something fun together. He'd be that type of man that would like to cheer you up. He'd be that type of man that is very generous with the 6 of Pentacles, because 6 of Pentacles represents generosity. And then we have the 6 of Cups. But I do feel like this kind of feeling of, you know, like, I want to give you what you want, what you need. Like, I'd put in a lot of effort towards the connection, only have eyes for you. And if you're not happy with something, I'm going to change it. Like, if you complain about it once, I'm going to do everything in my power to change that about myself. Not in a way of like, I'm changing myself for you to like me, but more in a way of like, okay, let's say I have this bad habits and it affects our connection negatively, then I'd want to change that or learn from that, grow from that. So I'd say that's a green flag so far. He's that type of man that's like, I want to please you, I want to spoil you, I want to give you the type of love you wish for, you know. But I think a lot of his past traumas can sometimes get in the way of him expressing the love in more of like a communication type of way, because I feel like he's a giver. Like, he'd be that type of man that would maybe buy you things or maybe take you out on dates. That would be like something I see, or maybe acts of service, do little things for you, or show you with his actions how much he cares, but he has a difficult time expressing it with his voice, like how much he cares. So that's one thing I do see. I do think you may feel sometimes a little bit like that is the only thing that's missing from the connection, like him talking about his feelings. But I do also feel like if you see potential in this connection so far, and if this man does sound like the type of man you would date so far from this reading, then I'd say go for it. It is something he can work on over time. Like I said, he is that type of man that wants to work on himself and become a better person and grow as a person. So I'd say that's a good thing. And I just saw 2222 on the timer. So I do feel like you will know if this is right for you based on the information given, but also based on your own gut feelings, my pile number 1s. So the next question is, how will he treat you? So how will he treat pile number 2s? We have the World. We have the Hanged Man. We have the 7 of Pentacles. We have the 5 of Wands reversed. So yeah, this man does avoid conflict with the 5 of Wands reversed. 10 of Cups reversed. And 2 of Wands. Okay, so why is the 10 of Cups reversed? 10 of Pentacles reversed at the back of the deck. I'm just trying to ask Spirit what that means. I'll come back to that. So with the 7 of Pentacles, how he will treat you is he will put in a lot of effort for the connection. He's that type of man that will work over time, trying to prove his love for you, like actually putting in the action towards you, right? Okay, I think a red flag I see here. This is the first red flag I've seen in the whole reading, and this may change your whole perspective on this person. I'm just gonna warn you in advance. I'm just gonna be honest because I said I'm not gonna sugarcoat things. So I see with the 2 of Wands can sometimes be about like weighing out your options, like choosing from two different paths, two different choices, where it's like we haven't really made a decision yet, but we're kind of like weighing out the options. So that's what I'm getting intuitively from this card. But with a 10 of Cups reverse, I feel like, and the 5 of Wands reverse, he kind of goes back and forth sometimes in the beginning of a relationship, but it comes from a fear of trusting people, right? So his fear of trusting people may get in the way of your relationship, because do you know what Spirit's showing me? You know when you wear a really long dress and like you can't walk properly because it keeps going in front of you and you keep stepping on it. So it's kind of like this is a little thing getting in the way of a connection and with this person, and it may be a little bit annoying. So I'm just gonna be honest and upfront about this. I think it's not a commitment issue from this person, because I think he does want love long term, but it's hard for him saying, okay, this is the person I'm gonna be with for the rest of my life. Especially like saying, okay, like we're in a relationship in the beginning stages if he doesn't know you yet. So I'd say he's the type of man that would treat you, if you're not dating yet, it would be like maybe you'd be friends for a really long time with the Hanged Man before you actually get into a relationship. That's what I would suggest if you're not dating him yet. Like, really take things slow with this man. Show him the type of person you are, the type of character you are, so that he can see that he can trust you, because it's not a usual commitment phobia. It's not that I'm picking up on energetically. It's more so like I'm scared to put all my eggs in one basket, because what if I get hurt? What if I give my whole heart to this person and they crush it? So I'd say for him with the Hanged Man, patience is needed. If you're not a person that likes patience, then I don't think this is gonna work. But I think with the world, I think he is aware of this and he is trying to let this go and trying to open up his heart and trust people and not get in his own way. So I think he is self-aware, which is a good thing, and I think he is trying to end the cycle of doing this. But in terms of how he would treat you, again, there's this feeling of like taking it really slow, really putting an effort towards the connection. I feel he is a very romantic person and you'll feel a lot of peace being with him, because I'm seeing two people walk together and it's so peaceful, and like you just go on beautiful dates together and it feels like you're slowly getting to know each other. It feels like you're slowly starting to gain more feelings for each other, like looking into each other's eyes. I'm seeing that clairvoyantly. But if you are in a relationship with this person, how he will treat you, I think it's exactly the same as he's treating you now. Because I feel like this man is very consistent. So, like, if he's treating you a certain way now, he will continue to treat you that way in the future. But if there are any negative things you see about the connection, like if you're already with this man, if you're already dating this man, then I think it's the same of what I've mentioned, but it's like, okay, before he says, okay, I'm gonna pop the question and ask you to marry me, or like really settle down, I want to first take some time and get to know if this is really right for me, build a strong foundation with this person first. So if you're already dating this man, I see that type of energy where you might wait a while. If you want marriage and things like that, you might wait a while for him to actually pop that question, because he first wants to see if that dynamic works and if it's going to grow long term. So I'd say he's a man of patience. He takes his time in love, but he'd treat you in a way where he'd give you peace of mind, which is a really good thing. It would be a very peaceful connection. That's something I keep seeing here. So my last question is how you will feel in this connection. So how will my pile number ones feel in this connection? We have the 10 of Pentacles in the reverse. So you may not like how much time it takes for you two to develop a connection, but I do feel like some of you are willing to try and make it work. We have the 8 of Pentacles. Here we have Chiron. So Chiron is the wounded healer. I think this love will be very healing for you. And I think that both of you can transform together with the butterflies. There's a feeling here of both of you learning wisdom together and both of you working on certain parts of yourself together. Both of you realize that you may not be perfect, but you're willing to work on yourselves to grow as a person. But also, when you grow as a person, that naturally improves your connection over time. So I'd say the love between the two of you, if you were to be in a relationship with him, it would be very healing. And if you are already, same thing, it would be very healing. It would help you work through certain wounds, like things from childhood, family wounds, maybe even ancestral wounds, because I'm seeing something about your ancestors and this person's ancestors working together. And if you two were to choose to have children together, there would be something about breaking ancestral cycles together as a couple. Then we have the Two of Cups. So you would feel very loved by this person with the Two of Cups. You would feel like he's giving you a lot of romance and love, but it's just like taking so long with the Ten of Pentacles reverse, where it's like, I don't know how much more patient I can be, but I think maybe patience is a lesson you're learning. King of Wands reversed. Four of Swords reversed. So I know I said he's a very peaceful man and he would bring you peace. You would feel peace, but I feel with this Four of Swords reversed, there's more so a restlessness around time. And I think this is part of your ego talking, because it's kind of like the ego wants to know when things are going to happen. Or maybe it's not ego, I could be wrong. The Lovers is also popping out. So I think this man would commit to you. You would feel loved by him. But the Eight of Cups is in the reverse at the back of the deck. So it's almost like you want love, but maybe you're scared of getting led on or scared of getting hurt and putting in all the time and effort and then it not working out or wasting your time. You know what I mean? There's something about you not wanting to leave this man because he treats you so well, but you're also feeling like, how long is it going to take? Like, I feel like either it's a thing of like not wanting to get hurt and trying to protect ourselves, or it's a thing of ego and wanting to know the answers, or it's a thing of like, I'm that type of person that needs like a plan, that needs to know when, where, how. But I also feel like it's also a lesson for you to surrender to the universe, because sometimes, you know, when we think of the universe and wanting manifestations and blessings, sometimes we don't know when it's going to come in. Sometimes we don't know what's going to happen in the future. Even if we watch 100 tarot readers today, like, we still won't fully know what's going to happen in the future. So I think for you, it's liberating you of this need to know and to just surrender and trust. So I'd say that's a good thing, but I think it depends on your perception of this. So I think it depends what you take from this reading. You always have free will. When you listen to this, how does it make you feel? Does this align to what you want in love? That is an important question to ask yourself, because only you will know what's best for you and your love life. Only you know what you wish for and want in love. Does this man match up to what you want in love? That is a question to ask yourself. So this is where I'm going to leave your reading, pile number 1. I really hope this reading resonated with you. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Sending you so much love, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Hi there, my pile number 2s. If you chose this red Jasper crystal in the Emperor card, then this is your reading. So we're going to be taking a look at what type of man will he be to you. I'm not going to sugarcoat in this reading. I'm going to be extremely honest. So be aware of that before you watch. Please be aware that this is a general reading as well. It is a collective reading, so only take what resonates, leave the rest. And before we get started, I'd also like to announce I am going to be available for personal readings next month. So if you would like to book with me, you can find my email address in the description box below. So let's start by shuffling your cards. So I have different questions prepared to figure out the type of man he will be to you. Okay, so we're first going to start out by looking at his personality to see if this matches up to the man you have in mind. because I think it's just nice to get that confirmation that this is your pile. And it also helps me just get a little bit into his energy to see his personality type. So can we first tap into the energy of pile number 2's person on their mind, spirit guides of pile 2? Can we please tap into the energy of the man on their mind? Can we first look at his personality, please? So we have the 3 of Wands in the reverse. We have the 5 of Cups. And we have the Hierophant. Okay, so one thing I'll say about him, I'd say he's a very hard worker. He wants to create his own legacy in terms of his future. However, the thing I see here is he has a problem finishing things. So the thing is, like, he loves to start new things. He's very ambitious in terms of his personality traits. But at the same time, he has a hard time following things through. So let's say he creates some kind of project at work. He will start it and then get bored halfway through and not be able to complete it. So he has a hard time finishing things. He could be an Aries, or what are the signs that start something new but have a hard time finishing? I know Aries is part of it. I just want to check on Google because I'm feeling those signs. I think it's cardinal, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Let me just check. Yeah, so it's the cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Those are the signs I see so far. But we also have Taurus here. And I do sense like a strong fire sign energy. So there could also be Sagittarius and Leo here. But basically what I feel from this man in terms of his energy so far, I feel like he can be that type of person that, like, he is a good person. I am seeing that. He is very grounded. He is very hardworking. I feel like when you're with him, you will feel like he grounds you. You know, he's very down to earth. He does seek success within his career, which is a green flag, but it also just depends the type of way he does that, because I don't know, maybe if you want like a very ambitious man, you would really like this man. But the thing I do see here though is he does have a tendency to, I don't want to say this, but I said I was going to be honest. So Dionysus, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right or wrong, sorry. I just have trouble pronouncing names, so sorry. I know some of you commented on how to pronounce it, but I just can't remember. Okay, anyways, this man here, this god here, is a god of wine. But with this god of wine being next to the 5 of Cups and the 3 of Cups being at the back of the deck, 3 of Cups can sometimes be about celebrations, partying, things like that. And the 4 of Wands is popping out, but it's in reverse. So I don't feel like he's usually like the party type of man. Like, I don't feel like he usually goes out drinking or partying. He is very fun to be around, but I don't feel like that's his vibe or environment. I feel like usually he's very calm and peaceful as a person and very grounded, very much like the earth. There could also be earth energy here. But the one thing I do see here, he has a tendency to drink or do certain substances when he gets sad. When things disappoint him, he turns to substances. And it could be substances, it could be food, it could be games, it could be literally anything where he has certain coping mechanisms he goes to feel better, which can be a little bit of a red flag, especially if it's like something where it's like every time I'm sad, I'm going to the bar and drinking. It can be a little bit of something that's not so great, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that. It can also be like a coping mechanism. Like every time I'm sad, I maybe go to the gym. That can be a healthy coping mechanism. So it just depends. But I do feel like there is something about coping mechanisms here when he gets sad. And I do think that if he is the type to go drinking when he's sad, there's something about like other people maybe coming up to him and talking to him. And when he isn't in his right mind, he's more susceptible to temptation, because I'm seeing the devil card in my mind, like temptation and the three of cups at the back of the deck. So for example, if you're a woman asking about a man, he is usually like loyal, but when he's under the influence of something, he's less likely to be fully loyal. And that is a red flag I do see here, if I'm just gonna be totally honest. So what else are we gonna ask now? His character and his values. Let's see. What is this man's character and values? We have the Fool in the reverse. So when I pulled this card, Spirit was showing me a horse stop in its tracks and halt. So I do feel like a green flag here is he's not foolish, he's not naive, he doesn't just take risks, or like he's not impulsive, which is contradictory to what I said before. But remember, when we're under the influence, I don't know the science of it, but the part of our brain that makes decisions logically is works less when we're under the influence of a substance. But when this man is sober, I see him making really good decisions for his life. I don't see him being the type of man that's impulsive, that just does things without thinking. You know, like if he does take a risk, he's really going to plan and be informed for that. But I do also feel like a con I see within his character and values is sometimes he's not so open to change. Sometimes he can be a little bit stuck in his ways. And I'm hearing a little bit stubborn. Like when he's in a certain type of character trait, it's hard for him to fully let go of it or fully develop new ones because he's so attached to that identity he had before. So let's say he was always, for example, the smart guy in school. Maybe he will stick with that identity forever, even if he doesn't like it anymore, even if he doesn't consider himself that way anymore. It's like that type of energy I see. So his character and his values. We have the 10 of Wands in the reverse and the 8 of Wands in the reverse. So again, he's not impulsive, which is a green flag. This thing was the only red flag I saw, like the coping mechanisms, but I don't feel like he's not a loyal person. So far, what I'm seeing in his energy is like he doesn't just do things without thinking, which is a good thing, you know, when he is in his right mind, of course. So I think when you're listening to this, just trust your intuition, trust your gut feelings based on what you want in a man. But basically what I'm seeing here is like when he really commits to a person, he stays with them till the end. And within his character and values, like when he commits to a person, he doesn't leave. And that is a good thing. So I do sense that about his nature and his energy. But the thing is, sometimes when he gets comfortable in love, he has a tendency to not put in as much effort as he did before. So I'd say that's something to be on the lookout for. It's not necessarily a red flag, because I feel like it can happen to anybody. Sometimes we forget to show the people our appreciation and love if we get comfortable. But it's just something he'd need to be aware of. But when it comes to him not leaving, I think this can also be a con within his character and values, because I feel like he's a little bit similar to Pa One's man, where I feel his throat chakra energy, like he doesn't speak up for himself sometimes. And I feel like with other men, he will speak up for himself. But when it comes to his lover, even if you're a man watching, or non-binary or a woman, it doesn't matter, but it's just like no matter what your gender is, when it comes to his lover, he doesn't sometimes speak up for himself or like stand up for himself. Like he's that type of man, Spirit is showing me, like a puppy dog type of man that will kind of like follow you around and want to be sweet with you all the time, which is a good thing. That's kind of cute to me, actually. But I feel like the problem here is he can get stuck in toxic relationships with people that are just not good for him, because he has that mindset of like, I don't want to leave. I want to stay with this person till the end. Like, I'm going to stick it through even if it's a bad relationship. So that is a negative side to his personality, his character. It's a character flaw, because if somebody's treating us badly, we should know our worth enough to leave. But I feel like this is the type of man where when it comes to projects and things like that, he has trouble finishing it. But when it comes to people, like, he has trouble leaving a person that's not good for him. Like, he's that type of person that will stay with you for 20 years, or even stay friends with you for 20 years, because he likes that fact that that connection has been there for so long, and it becomes a part of him where he doesn't like to let go of people. There's a sense of stubbornness with this man. Like, when he sticks to something, when he says he wants something, nothing will stop him. And in his character and values, I don't see any red flags. I don't see him being disloyal or untrustworthy or anything like that so far. So I'd say he's a green flag so far. There was only one red flag we saw. But what I'm seeing here is, like, let's say somebody challenges him and says, oh, you can't do this, then he's going to prove that person wrong. So that is a great character trait, but it can also be a con depending on the way you look at it. But it can motivate him to become better, which is a good thing. So that's something I see here. So in the last month, only 41% of my viewers have subscribed to my channel. So if you enjoyed this video so far, and if you would like to stay up to date with what I post daily, hit the subscribe button to not miss out. Thank you to everybody that is watching my channel right now. I'm sending you so much love, so much gratitude, and I hope you're enjoying this reading. So let's see your next question. We're going to take a look at your actual question of the title, the type of man he will be to you now. So the type of man he will be to pile number 2, please. We have the Magician in the reverse. We have the Queen of Wands in the reverse. We have the Devil in the reverse. We have the High Priestess. We have the Moon. So there is a red flag. I don't know if this is a red flag. Let me just understand the energy first. The King of Wands. I don't think this is in his character or his values. I feel like he would be very loving to you, because the Two of Cups is coming out with the Judgment card. But the thing is, like, when you call this man out, or when you say something to him like, you did this wrong, I feel like he has a tendency to unconsciously manipulate another person, which is a red flag I see, because the Magician in reverse can represent manipulation, right? And the Moon here would represent a hidden thing, like something being hidden. But with the High Priestess next to the Moon, it would be like this feeling of, I know you did that or said that, but I feel like with the Moon, it would be coming from an unconscious place. So what Spirit is showing me is, do you know how sometimes a person can unconsciously do something but not realize they're doing it consciously? It's not done on purpose, and it's not part of his character and his values. But I almost feel like when this man is put on the spot, or like, let's say you call him out for doing something or saying something, he has trouble taking responsibility. Whenever I see the Devil in reverse in a reading, I see it as somebody, this is just my perception of the tarot cards, I always see it as somebody that has trouble taking accountability. So it's almost like, I'm going to pin it on you because I have trouble accepting that I'm wrong. So it would be like a back and forth thing. I don't think he'd be that type of person that would gaslight you, to be honest, because this is not like a conscious thing. I don't see him being malicious or like intending to do this, but it's more so like he can't sometimes accept that he's wrong, or sometimes he has a hard time saying sorry or taking accountability or being wrong. And that's a red flag that your spirit guides want to make you aware of, especially your ancestors. I feel ancestors quite strongly in this pile as well. That also came up in pile 1. But it's like your ancestors want to give you this warning ahead of time so that you're aware of this hidden aspect that you may not see within him right now. And with the high priestess, I think you may already have seen certain things about this man that you may not fully like, where your spirit guides are reminding you to trust your intuition here, to trust your gut feelings. Because I mean, the high priestess, the moon, those are both cards of intuition. So it's like your intuition is here to warn you in advance. It's not here to scare you. It's here to give you a warning in advance, so that you are able to avoid circumstances like this. Because I feel like it would be a beautiful relationship and a good relationship, and he would treat you good. But there is a sense of this taking you out of your power and making you feel like this connection can be a little bit like soul draining, soul sucking. I don't know why I'm hearing that. Like, it's draining to your soul to be in a connection with somebody that isn't able to take responsibility for their mistakes or their actions or say sorry, because that just shows that he doesn't want to grow. And I think it's coming from a place of his ego, and like not wanting to be wrong. But sometimes it's also like the stubbornness. I feel like the good things I see in the connection, though, it would be a very deep emotional connection with the moon, though. And you have like a strong connection where you two would just click. So that is a good thing I see about this. But I almost feel like this red flag is too much of a red flag, that I don't really like this man, for you to be honest, pile 2. And you see that I'm not making this up, because it's like these are the cards that are coming out. So I don't know. I really wanted most of the piles to be good readings, like where all of you have like really good men you're asking about, but I have to be honest here. I feel like you would have that deep connection and feel very connected to this person. I feel like you've had a past life connection to them, but it's also at the same time too much of a red flag, where I just feel uncomfortable in this energy now after seeing that. You know, when something's revealed to you and you can't unsee it, I feel like that's the feeling you're getting in this connection later on. Like when the truths are revealed about him that you may not see. There's some things about him that are hidden that you may not see yet, that may start to appear or show itself. The truth may start to appear or show itself to you in the early stages of the connection. And I don't know, maybe some part of you will want to be in denial, especially if you have too much of a deep connection to him and like too much of an attachment to him, which is why Spirit is warning you of this in advance before something like that happens. If you are already in a relationship with this person and you haven't seen any of this come up, you know, maybe it's not for you, because this is a general reading. But I'd say also trust your intuition with the High Priestess, because your intuition knows best. How will he treat pile number 2? How will he treat pile number 2? So we have the Tower. And one thing I'll also say is there will be a lot of passion in this connection. Like, in terms of the bedroom, I'm seeing like that type of connection where it's just so passionate, and like when you're together and when you're intimate, it feels like we're creating a soul tie, and it feels like the connection becomes more deep the more intimate we are. And there's like a lot of passion here, right? But the thing is, it can be a little bit dangerous. How do I explain this in words? I said I'm not going to sugarcoat things, but I also don't like to just give messages and be mean without thinking first. So just let me think of my message first, how I'm going to deliver this. Okay, what I'm going to say is be careful of sleeping with this man too early. Not because of anything else, but just because of attachment and energy. So the thing is, I'm seeing if you haven't slept with this man yet, then this is your message. If you have already, then just discard this message, but just maybe also listen to be aware of this, because the one thing I will say is sometimes when we sleep with a person, we create an energetic bond to them. And I'm almost seeing when you two are together intimately in bed, it's like your bond becomes deeper and deeper and deeper. And the problem here is not like the connection or, like the sex or anything like that. It's more so if I am attached to a man that is hurting me and I'm so attached to him that I can't let go, then that's also destructive for me. That's also not nice for me to experience. It's like, what's the word? It can keep me stuck in a cycle longer than I need to be in. That's what I'm trying to say here. So just be careful of that. Take it slow, please. For your pile specifically, just because of the energy I'm seeing. So we have the Six of Pentacles here. And if you've already done it, like, there's no shame here. Like, I'm not a tarot reader that will judge you, but I'm just giving the messages I see. We have the World, and then we have the King of Swords reversed. So one more card for how he will treat pile number 2s, please. The Death card. So I do see that this man has been hurt in the past. He has gone through heartbreak and pain. And I'm seeing you being very nurturing towards him, because I'm hearing that song Take Care by Drake and Rihanna, I think, where they talk about like how both of them have been hurt, but like, I'll take care of you or something like that. So I feel like both of you will maybe like bond over your traumas or over your hurt and your pain that you've been through together, and kind of feel like, okay, I relate to you. Like, it's kind of healing talking about my experiences and we're relating to each other. So it's kind of like we're trauma bonding at first a little bit, but it doesn't seem negative to me. It's more so healing, because I'm hearing the other person's perspective and maybe the same thing has happened to them, and it's healing to hear that other perspective. But the red flag that comes in here is I don't think he's fully aware of his trauma and his pain and how that may affect him currently. So it almost feels like sometimes he's projecting his old things onto you, like his old pain onto you, which is not the best thing, but it doesn't come across as malicious again. So again, this man is not a bad person. I don't see him doing anything to hurt you intentionally. That's what I'm going to say up front. But I feel like his trauma and his pain has affected him in certain ways. Even his upbringing in childhood has affected him in certain ways where certain things he does or says, it's like he's picked up those traits from either his family members or him seeing people be like that as a child, teachers, friends, like, but I'm more so picking up on family dynamics. So let's say there was somebody in his family that was extremely manipulative, but he's not aware of it and he's not doing it consciously or maliciously, but it's like maybe he picked up on that trait by accident and doesn't realize it from childhood. Or it's kind of like that energy where it's like I've picked up on certain traits from my parents that aren't the best, but it's not like he's intentionally trying to hurt you, but it can sometimes bring chaos within the connection, and it can bring pain to you unintentionally. Even though he's not trying to hurt you intentionally, it can hurt you. So I think sometimes his behaviors and his actions are from an unconscious place and it may hurt you. So I'm just going to be honest with that. Spirit is not showing me exactly what it is, but Spirit is just saying that. So with this man, I think with the Six of Pentacles, he'd be very generous, but with the Tower next to the Six of Pentacles, it feels like sort of inconsistent. Like sometimes he's acting out of his trauma or his pain or his faulty personality type, but not doing it on purpose to hurt you. And then it kind of feels a little bit strange because you understand and you know where his pain and trauma comes from. And you can see the wounded inner child within him acting out, or you can see what caused him to become this way, where you have empathy for him, but also at the same time, it's hurting you at the same time, where you're like, I don't know if I want to be in this connection because it feels like I'm not knowing my worth by staying with somebody with the Queen of Wands reverse. Like, it feels like I'm not knowing my worth by staying with somebody that hurts me. And although I see your pain and I empathize with it, I can't be your emotional punching bag or the person you project all your pain and trauma onto, because that is hurting me in the end. So it's like, I see if you were to be with this person long term, I see it eventually ending. I'm not gonna lie, with the World, the Death card, I don't feel like this is stable enough to last, because it's almost like there would be too much hurt and pain to be able to stay in a connection like this and still be mentally okay. It would affect you mental health wise to stay in a connection like this, unless he was to do some work on himself and become aware of these traits and things like that. But right now, I'm just going to be honest with what I see again. Like, he's not a bad person, but I think he has pain and trauma he is not healed from. And the fact that this man sometimes doesn't want to change, it's almost like, let's say he has a certain faulty personality trait, and it's like you call him out on that, but maybe that's not his personality. Maybe it's a traumatic kind of coping mechanism he picked up from childhood, but it's not part of his personality. But he thinks it's part of his personality, and he's like, why are you trying to change me? And then he gets more defensive and doesn't want to change even more, because the Six of Swords is at the reverse, is at the back of the deck, which is like an inability to change. Where it's like the Five of Wands behind that, like, no, you're wrong. Like, why are you trying to change me? And then it kind of just becomes a whole fight. So I just don't think this is, again, he's not a bad person. I don't think he would intentionally hurt you. But I don't think this is your husband, pile two. Let me just say that. So how you will feel in this connection, how will pile two feel in this connection? I'm feeling my solar plexus like wounded. I don't know why my voice went weird there. Sorry. I'm just laughing at myself sometimes because of the way I talk sometimes. But anyways, it's like I'm feeling my solar plexus being wounded, where it feels like this man is sort of bringing out my insecurities and taking me to a low place where I don't feel worthy of the type of man I do want, because it's kind of like the way Spirit is explaining it to me psychologically, right, is I love this man so much. The Lovers here, I see where his pain and trauma comes from. Queen of Cups, I empathize with him. I feel this deep emotional connection to him. And now I'm seeing Maddie from Euphoria when she says to him, I love you, something along the lines of I love you, but we're just not good for each other. So you may feel that way, like I love you, but we're just not good for each other. And you may feel like this is just not working. This is just not going to be successful in the end with the Six of Wands reverse. This is a failed mission, is basically what I'm hearing in terms of the connection, because it's like Spirit is showing me psychologically. It's like you feel empathy for them and you love them and you understand where this is coming from, but you also know internally that you deserve better. But then at the same time, you don't want to leave this person behind or abandon them because they're not intentionally or maliciously hurting you, and you want to support them through their healing too. But it's kind of like psychologically you start to think, is there even good men out there in the world? How many men are still, impacted by their trauma? Are there even men out there in the world that would treat me the way I want? Because I found a good man, but it's like, he just isn't like the person I need in love yet. He's a good man, but he just isn't the person I need right now. So with the Lovers, it's kind of like you get this choice where it's like I either stay in this connection and commit to this, or I accept this about him and accept the fact that he may never change. He may be stuck in his old ways, or I leave and love him from afar, where I have no grudge against him, but I just don't feel this is going to work out. So I see you feeling like that in this connection. How will they feel in this connection? Seven of Cups. It's like very mixed feelings, a very bittersweet feeling. It's not like you're going to hate this person or anything like that. But with the Ace of Pentacles reverse, he's just not matching up to what you want in a lifelong partnership. Ten of Pentacles at the back of the deck. Maybe some of you are looking for, your husband. He's just not your husband. You love him, but he's just not matching up to what you want for your future. So I think that's where this comes in. So sorry to give these messages pile 2, but it's better to know earlier than later on. This is your reading. I really hope this reading resonated with you. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Sending so much love, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Hi there, my pile number 3s. If you chose this blue Howlite crystal in the Page of Swords, then this is your reading. We're going to be taking a look at what type of man will he be to you. So this is a general reading, a collective reading. Please only take what resonates, leave the rest. I'm also not going to sugarcoat things in this reading, so I'm going to be completely honest. If you don't like that, then this is not the reading for you. But let's go ahead and start looking at your tarot cards. Also, I do want to say before I get started, I am going to have availability for personal readings next month. So if you would like to book with me, you can find my email address in the description box below. Let's just shuffle your cards. I have different questions I want to ask to just see the type of man he will be to you. So first we're going to take a look at his personality so that you can see that this is in fact your reading. Sometimes it's nice to just have that confirmation. So if this man sounds like your man, then you'll know this is your reading. If not, then I'd suggest clicking another pile. So let's see. Spirit guides of pile number 3s. Spirit guides of pile number 3s, may I please tap into the energy of the man on their mind, the man on pile 3's mind, and what type of man he will be to them. Who is he in his personality? Who is this man in his personality? So we have the Queen of Wands. We have the Three of Wands. And we have the World. So with 3 women showing up in terms of us asking about a man, we do have Strength at the back of the deck. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's a feminine man. But I do feel like with Strength at the back of the deck, he's still masculine in nature and his personality, but he does have either feminine features or he is comfortable with his feminine side, because we all have masculine and feminine energy within us, a balance of both, and we can hone into both energies for different aspects of our life and things like that. So I'd say he's very comfortable with his feminine and his masculine energy, which is a good thing, and he has a balance between that. Okay, that's something I see in him immediately. His energy is very beautiful, pile number 3. I'll be honest, his energy is very beautiful. He has a beautiful soul. He has a lot of light in his energy. The one thing I will say about this man, though, is he comes across as very mysterious. Even as I'm trying to read his energy, it feels like it's hard to fully read him. So whenever you're with this man, this will be a dead giveaway. If this is your reading, like, you almost feel like you can't figure this man out. Like, you're constantly trying to figure out more parts of him and his personality, but he's so mysterious. Like, he kind of has this energy where he is like a Rubik's Cube. Like, you're trying to figure him out, and the more you try to figure him out, the more confused you feel. But I also feel like it's because his energy is very protected. that it's kind of hard to connect to him fully, but I'm just going to pause in between as I read his energy when I'm stuck. Of course, you won't see it when I edit it, but I'm just mentioning that, like, it's kind of hard to connect to him and read him. And you may sometimes feel like that when you're with him in person, like, I'd like to know what you're thinking. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what's on your mind. Because sometimes he can be a little bit quiet and reserved. And that's what I'm feeling from his energy so far. Like, I feel a lot of Gemini energy, Virgo energy, Scorpio energy. There's also a lot of fire energy here. There's also Aquarius, Taurus, and Leo. So those are zodiac signs I see, just kind of like to pinpoint if this is, like a confirmation for you. I feel like he could be very creative within his personality. He's more of like a creative type of person. And I feel like he is that type of person that loves to learn different things. He has a thirst for knowledge. In this lifetime, one of his missions is building up his confidence within himself. Spirit is showing me, like, you know how Rihanna is so unapologetically herself? Spirit is using her as an example. That is one of this person's lessons in this lifetime. And I don't know who's watching my readings, who these men are that you're thinking of, but in each pile there have been like patterns of men that have trouble speaking their truth, because I actually feel his throat chakra energies, and he's had trouble communicating, speaking his truth, standing up for himself in his earlier life, but right now he's a lot more strong in that sense, where he will stand up for himself. And sometimes it can come off as like very direct, confrontational, and harsh, but I think he is learning boundaries in this lifetime too, learning to feel fully confident in himself. And some of you may resonate with this as well. Like, I also feel like I'm learning this. Maybe you're learning that together. Maybe there's something about you two influencing each other to be more confident, to follow creativity. I also see he has like big goals, big dreams, like he wants to shoot his shot towards that. That's the type of personality he has. And he's a very peaceful, calm person. Like, although I say when he stands up for himself, it comes across as direct and confrontational, it's because he never did in the past. So I think he may overdo it sometimes, but it's still good that he's learning. So one thing I'll say about him, usually he's very calm. Like sometimes you'll even sit with him and you'll just sit in silence together and it will be very calm. Or I'm seeing like the type of man that likes to cuddle. I don't know why. Or like something about touching your hair, like giving you compliments, things like that. But yeah, he's just a very peaceful man. He's somebody that wants to grow within his career. He's somebody that wants to achieve certain things within his life. So that is the type of man he is. He's very bold and expressive. He may love fashion. He may love just like art in general, expressing himself in general. I'm getting that energy, and I'm seeing the Egyptian pyramids. You could have had a past life with this person in Egypt. Every time I do my love readings, there's always one pile with past life connections to Egypt. For some of you, this man has a lot on his shoulders, either to do with like, how do I explain this? Like, feeling responsible for the people around him. So I feel like if he was that type of man that would get rich and successful, he would like buy a house for his family. I feel like he's very generous like that, but he also feels a sense of responsibility for his family, the people around him, where it can kind of weigh him down sometimes. I feel like he's that type of person that wants to like keep everything in place for the people around him. I don't know what that means, but I'm just seeing that. He could also be very protective over his partner, not in a like jealous, possessive way, but just protective. You may feel very safe around him because of this. And for some of you, this man loves to gym and take care of his body, or he may be like that in the future. I don't know. Just take what resonates, leave what doesn't. So the thing is, I feel like he has this hunger for success, to be seen, to achieve certain things, but it's not like a money hungry or greedy energy. I feel like he's a generous person. Like if he had to have a lot of abundance, he would share it with the people around him. But it's like he has this drive to succeed. He has a lot of motivation and willpower. That's what I see in his energy. So, next question. His character and his values, please. The Seven of Wands in the reverse. The Two of Cups. The Sun in the reverse and the Nine of Cups. So I do feel like with the Two of Cups, he is a very loving person and he rarely acts out of character. Like, he acts from his heart, which is a really good thing to see in a reading like that. It's a green flag. I think he has a tendency to not speak up when he's not happy about something. Especially when it comes to his romantic connections. So let's say you're doing something that he doesn't like, or let's say I don't know what example to think of. Let's just say it's something silly and small, but he doesn't like that you do that, and he doesn't speak up about it because he wants to be soft to you and loving to you, but it can also be a con not speaking up about it, because if you don't know that you do something that makes him unhappy, it's like you can never go and change that thing or work on that thing. And that can be a con because it can build up resentment over time. So I just say be aware of it. It's not bad, but I think he just has this tendency to like accept things even when they don't go his way, just because it's like, I should be grateful, like like with his relationships with you, for example, he sees you as the type of person that matches up to everything he wants in love. Like, you have all the qualities and traits he wants in a person, right? In a partner, romantically. So for him, he's like, she, he, they are everything I want in love. One little thing they do that makes me unhappy isn't going to destroy our relationship. So he doesn't make it such a big deal, but I also think that again is coming through in his lessons of standing up for himself. But so far I'm not seeing any red flags with this man. He's giving all green flags. But yeah, I feel like he acts from his heart and he wishes to be a better person. Like, he wishes to grow in this lifetime, become a better person, which is a really good thing. Is there anything else I'm missing here before we move to the next question, Spirit? I think I kind of relate to this. So Spirit is showing me, this is not something I'm proud of, but like sometimes, when somebody says something to you and you get defensive, but they're not intending anything in a bad way, but maybe we react too quickly. I think that's something he has as a character flaw, if I'm going to be honest, but it is something he can work on and grow through. I think in his lifetime, he has dealt with feelings of depression. I'm not a medical professional, so I can't diagnose, but it feels like he's gone through moments of his life where he's been extremely unhappy with his life. And I feel like he has big dreams and goals that he's trying to achieve, but sometimes doubt creeps in his mind where it's like, am I even good enough to achieve this? So that's something I see. I don't know why it's coming up in his character, but it is. And for some of you, I'm seeing something about not wanting children, but for some of you, I'm picking up on an energy where like maybe you've been with this person already. Like, some of you are already in a relationship with this person, some of you aren't. But for those that are already like in a relationship with this person, I feel like some of you already know this and it hurts you because maybe you want kids. Whereas I feel like others of you agree with this and don't want kids right now, or just aren't ready right now, but maybe he wants them later with the Nine of Cups, but maybe just not right now. So I don't know. Just trust your intuition, because not every message is going to resonate. It is a collective reading. Okay, so in the last month, only 41% of my viewers have subscribed to my channel. So if you enjoy this reading so far, and if you would like to stay up to date with what I post daily, hit the subscribe button to not miss out. Thank you to everybody that supports my channel. I'm so grateful for you being here with me and watching. So I hope you're enjoying this reading. Let's see. I don't know. I really like this man's energy. As soon as I got to this pile, there's just something about his energy. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to put my finger on it, but I feel like you feel the same way. The High Priestess is at the back of the deck after shuffling. So maybe you're just very drawn to him, but you don't know why. Like you're intuitively drawn to him. So the Six of Cups, no, Six of Pentacles. Why did I say Six of Cups? Six of Pentacles is coming out, so I feel like he is a very generous person too, and he would give to you a lot. He does want love, like he does have wishes for the future, like he's a big dreamer. That's what I feel in his energy, like he's a dreamer. He has a lot of wishes for the future that he wants to have in his life. So now we're going to look at the actual topic title, the type of man he will be, to pile number 3, please. So we have the High Priestess. You may already intuitively sense something about the type of man he will be to you. It is important to trust your intuition, whether it is negative or positive. We do have the Six of Cups in the reverse at the back of the deck, and the Tower at the back of the deck. No, not at the back of the deck, popping out with the Tower. So I do feel like this has to do with him having an inability to let go of the past sometimes. Where it's like he's experienced a lot of pain and hurt in his lifetime. But I feel like maybe it has to do more with his romantic connections, but I'm not too sure. It could be different for all of you. He's very resilient as a man, like he can heal this and he's strong, but he has experienced heartbreak, and sometimes he has, like, he holds on to the past. So that is a negative thing I see here. It's not fully a red flag, because I feel like I do that too sometimes. It's not a red flag, but it's just telling you the type of man he is. So the type of man he will be, to pile number 3. The Ace of Cups. I think he will give you a lot of love with the Ace of Cups, and he'll really pour into you. So I think that's a good thing. But with the Five of Cups, I feel like, what am I getting? Clarify the Five of Cups. Queen of Pentacles. I feel like sometimes he focuses a lot on his work, where maybe you might feel a little bit neglected because of that. But don't get me wrong, he's a very generous man, but I also feel like he's a hard worker and he has very big dreams in this lifetime. So sometimes, you know, like, let's say he has a long day of work and he gets home and he's tired and he doesn't kiss you and he falls asleep right away. You know, don't take it personally, because maybe he's just had a long day and he's tired and he needs rest, you know what I mean? But it can also be a con, you know, if we don't make time for our relationships as well. But the thing I'd say about this man is he has big dreams and goals, and he's not going to give up on that. He has a big purpose in this lifetime, and whatever he dreams of doing, he's meant to do. Because I see the Wheel of Fortune popping out in my tarot deck. So he's meant to go after this. Like, please don't ever stop him from going after his dreams. I'm not saying you are going to, but it's just a message from Spirit. Because I think he's meant to do this. He's following his purpose by dreaming big and going after what he wants in life. But the thing is, I think a lesson you two might learn in this connection is having balance between work and relationships, because I feel like maybe even you could, like, be a really hard worker, and sometimes you would feel like we're working so hard and sometimes we don't see each other much. Sometimes It's like you're spending a lot of time together, but sometimes you're not. And I feel like he is a very loving person, but I also feel like, how do I put this in words, Spirit? I feel like he would be that type of man to you that would have very deep feelings for you, but I'm hearing Spirit say he's very focused. Sometimes, like, on himself or on the things he wants to build in his life. And it's like sometimes Spirit is saying, this is not going to be an easy message to hear, but Spirit is saying sometimes give him his space, because it's kind of like, I'm not saying that you're clingy or anything like that, but what I'm saying is sometimes we almost like want a person all the time because we love them so much. But sometimes we also have to understand when to take a step back and give them space to focus on what they need to build within their life. Because that is also going to allow you to build your own independence, to focus on you, and not to feel like, I need your love to feel okay. Because I feel like for some of you, you can ignore this message if it doesn't resonate. By the way, it's not for everybody, but there's something leading back to your past and your trauma, where maybe there's this feeling of, what Spirit is showing me is like, like, let's say, how do I put this in words? Let's say you saw him on Friday, but you never saw him for a whole week. Then there's this feeling of like, does he still love me? Where you're kind of like, because you haven't seen him in a while, you start to question the connection, even though he does still love you and care for you. It's like maybe from a place of, not trauma, but it's kind of like an attachment thing, like an attachment style thing. So I don't know if some of you have anxious attachment styles, or that thing of when something's not in front of you, you forget that it's there, or you forget their love for you when they're not in front of you, or not giving it to you in each moment. So I'm just seeing something along those lines. What type of man will he be to pile number 3? So we have the 9 of Wands in reverse. I'm hearing for some of you this is like a long distance situation. The 8 of Wands, 8 of Swords reversed, and the 10 of Pentacles. So we have Justice at the back of the deck. I feel like he is a trustworthy man. You can trust him. But, and that's especially for those watching with trust issues. Like, you can trust this man. But the thing I see here is this does have potential for a long-term connection, for this person to be with you for a really long time with the 10 of Pentacles. But the thing I do see here is sometimes he doesn't accept when a challenge is there. Like, he tries to sometimes sweep things under the rug. And that's not a good thing for your relationship, as I explained before, because it can build up resentment. And if you don't know you're doing something wrong, it can, like, slow things down where it should be faster. So what do I mean by that? Like, let's say you have a challenge in your connection where maybe you do something to this person unconsciously and you don't know that it hurts him. But you're not doing it intentionally to hurt him, and he doesn't speak up about it, and he sweeps it under the rug. If he had told you day one, you would have been conscious of it and made sure to not do that around him. And you would have gotten over that challenge so quickly with 8 of Wands. You would have done something about it because you care. But it's kind of like, because he waits so long to tell you, okay, this is how I feel, this is what you've done to hurt me, it prolongs the challenge. Does that make sense? So that's the energy I see here. So how will this man treat pile number 3? We have Judgment, Ace of Swords reverse, 9 of Swords, 7 of Swords. So I think he has betrayal trauma. He has a fear of being betrayed, being deceived, being cheated on, lied to, things like that. So I think I think he would treat you with love and he would treat you well, but this is kind of something to be aware of. It doesn't mean that he's going to project that fear onto you, especially if he's like aware of this. But sometimes it can be a little bit of a red flag, just depending on the type of man he is. So I've seen this in like some people where even with me, like I have betrayal trauma, but I wouldn't necessarily project that onto a person. Sometimes it's hard to fully trust, especially in the beginning stages of the connection. But once you start to see the type of person they are, you start to let go a little bit and trust a little bit, at least in my experience. But there are some people where they'll fear something happening to them and then they'll go and self-sabotage because of that. Or, yeah, like they'll do the thing to you that I'm not saying he will do this, but I'm saying some people do this, which is something to be aware of, where they'll do the thing to you that they're afraid of you doing to them. And it's kind of like a self-sabotage thing. So I'm not saying he is the type of man to do that, but I'm just saying be aware of it. Trust your intuition. So there's nothing wrong with having trust issues. It's not his fault that he got hurt in the past, but as long as he doesn't put that onto you, as long as he communicates openly about this to you and is honest with you, because I do feel like you would show him the type of person you are, and over time he'd learn that you are somebody he can trust as well. So how will he treat pile number 3? Why is this coming up in how he will treat them? King of Swords. Why is this coming up in how he will treat them, like fears and things? The Wheel of Fortune and the Page of Wands in the reverse. The Hierophant is popping out, so it's a lesson he's learning. I don't like to say trauma is a lesson. I don't like to say that at all, but for him, I feel like, okay, this is going to sound like very weird, but for him, I feel like in this lifetime, it doesn't apply to everybody, just for this man. Let me just say that. Everybody's energy is different. Everybody's soul path is different. The Wheel of Fortune here indicates our soul's path, but it can also indicate life's ups and downs. Like sometimes things just happen, and they just happen, but we can kind of get caught in that. But I feel like in this case, with the Hierophant and the Wheel of Fortune here, this is a lesson for him in this lifetime. I feel like he chose to be betrayed in this lifetime, to be able to see what it's like to heal that betrayal trauma with temperance, alchemize it, because there's something about the ancestral line dealing with this and him clearing that out of the ancestral line. I don't know why the ancestors are coming up so strongly with like clearing ancestral cycles for all 3 piles, but maybe it's just a collective thing. Maybe collectively the ancestors want us to clear things that are stuck within the ancestral line, like cycles that they never learned from. So I feel like for him, he is learning a lesson from this, and it may influence the way he treats you, not in a negative way, but I feel like sometimes he may be so anxious that he may not be able to maybe even treat you or give you the love like you want in that moment. Because I feel like with the Ace of Swords reverse, sometimes he's in his head, where it's like, let's say with the King of Swords, it's not going to make him treat you badly in any way, but it's more so like, let's say you're sitting together and you want to talk to him about something, and he's so much in his head worrying, overthinking, and he's like, huh, I didn't hear you, you know what I mean? And it's like, it creates kind of like communication problems, or there's something about communication here showing up in general. Page of Wands reverse. I feel like sometimes he doesn't know how to communicate it in the best way, where it's like you sometimes may misunderstand each other's intention behind communicating that, where it's like you won't be so happy or optimistic about the way he communicates it, or his tone, or the words he uses. Maybe he doesn't use the right words. I don't know, something about communication. But let's see what else. How else will he treat pile number 3? 8 of Cups. Three of Cups, and Ten of Swords reverse. So I feel like he will let go of this eventually. Spirit is not showing me anything else in regards to how he would treat you, but I do feel like he will let go of this eventually, because Ten of Swords reverse is his betrayal trauma, like being stabbed in the back. Eight of Cups is walking away from something. In this case, it would be his betrayal trauma, since the Ten of Swords is next to it, and Three of Cups is here. So he may have been cheated on in his past. I feel like eventually he's going to let go of it. So how will pile number 3 feel in this connection? That's our last question. We have the Two of Swords. We have the Empress. We have the Three of Pentacles in the reverse. We have the Four of Swords and the Ace of Wands. So I feel like you're going to feel very attracted to this man, not just like physically. Physically, yes, you're very like attracted to this man. I feel a lot of passion that you're going to feel towards him. But it's not just a physical and sensual attraction. It's like certain things he does. Like, I don't know if he just does something and like maybe the way he picks something up, or the way he talks, or like the way he treats you, something about that just like makes you want him more. So I'm definitely seeing something about that. Lots of passion and chemistry there. I feel like with the Four of Swords, you will feel very at peace within this connection, and you will feel loved and nurtured within this connection with the Empress. You'll feel like, I'm just like going with the flow, just so peaceful, like, like he's protecting me, like I'm just at peace, like no thoughts in my mind. You know what I mean? Because I feel like it gives you time to make decisions that are actually important to you. So I feel like it's almost like he's going to take care of you in terms of the rest of the things you don't want to worry about, and then you can actually put your focus on the things you do want to decide to do. I do feel like there is something about you not liking the fact that there is work to be done on your communication, because sometimes it's like we just can't see eye to eye, or can't agree on the same thing, or can't work together as a team in terms of communication. So there things can be a little bit volatile at times, but we can work through this and heal this if we both want to. So that is the only thing I see there that is negative. But in terms of how you feel, it all seems very positive besides that thing. And I feel like his feelings will be very reciprocated to you. So this is what I have for you, pile 3. This was your reading. I really hope this reading resonated with you. Sending you so much love, gratitude, and thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you next time.